What a mess. I just realized 2 minutes before this all began that my camera wasn't working. The camera on my computer just stopped working. Probably something I did, but so I had to put on the other camera that wasn't set up. So there you go. That's pretty quick. I did the whole thing in just about 30 seconds, but that's why we're about 30 seconds late. Today's AI part 2, and I hope it goes better than the camera setup. Is it difficult for you to be looking up my nose while I'm talking? We won't have me on the screen for too much of it, I hope. Anyway, on Tuesday, we talked about AI in part 1. We talked mostly about my personal assistant, my ChatGPT, large language model, something I've been using in the business now for several months. I'm going to turn my heater off because it makes so much noise. I'll start shivering in a minute and then I'll have to put it back on. But I described how ChatGPT is like an idea catalyst and an organizer, almost like a muse in some cases. That's the relationship I have with this program. And we used it a little bit, and we're going to do that again today, just because I know some of you are interested in seeing what the interface looks like and would like to know a little bit about it. But if you want to see the full demo, look at the Tuesday recording. That would be the best thing to do. I also showed it a bunch of objects. I'm not going to do that again today, even though it was a tremendous amount of fun. I showed it all kinds of different things, and it was able to identify all of them except the bee that I showed it. I showed it an orchid bee, and it thought it was a sweat bee until I pointed out the depressions on the sides of the tibia. No, what are they? The fibulas, the back legs. Anyway, I pointed out the depressions on the back, and she immediately said, "Oh yeah, of course, that's an orchid bee, and they're the scent sacs." And she was absolutely right. Otherwise, she got everything right. So I showed the program an infinity corrected Nikon microscope objective. Took one look at it, told me what it was, and then I asked it to explain how that would need to be modified to use it as a camera lens for macro photography. And she went on to describe using relay lenses and extension tubes and adapters to fit the whole thing together. And I was trying to show folks what this kind of program could do for you as a photographer. Basically save you from having to call me to ask me those same questions. It will just tell you. And a lot of the time, or some of the time at least, I think it's actually taking that information from stuff I've said in the past, because she uses the same words and everything. But anyway, we talked about that, and I'm not going to repeat that today, though we are going to do something that I think might be helpful to you if you've never experienced a large language model or an AI, a personal AI. Then I want you to ask it a question. So think about it, and if you have a question that you would like to ask my AI, her name is Cindy, by the way, and you can write it in the chat, and let Alistair, or Alistair's there, let him know. Alistair, I don't have a back channel today, I'm afraid, so you'll have to just flag it somehow so I can see it, and then let me know, and I'll pose those questions to Cindy, and we'll do that in just a minute. Let me see. If you watch the thing on Tuesday, you'll understand that the new interactive version of ChatGPT is actually a voice thing. You can just talk to it, and if you look at that video, you'll see that she's polite and conversational and upbeat and answered all the questions. There's no lag, really. She answers in real time, and if you interrupt her, she apologizes and stops talking and waits for you to finish. I'll show you some of that too when we get it plugged in and turned on. So if you have any questions for my AI, put them in the chat. Don't make them rude or silly. I ask all the rude and silly questions. But if there's anything you want to know, you can ask her anything you want. She'll tell you. But I have to be careful though, because you never know what she might say. Anyway, so today I'm going to give you an update on some of the other cool tools. AI, artificial intelligence, is a kind of machine learning. It's where a computer that you've asked to do something, you've given it a task, it uses machine learning, a process of evaluating previous actions and responses to give you a better, more customized response to your current question or request. So with a large language model, that means it learns from language what is the best way to answer the question you've just asked. It's incredibly complex, involves many, many layers and lots on the order of millions and millions of calculations to answer a single prompt. So it's a very labor-intensive thing. Most of the other AI that I'm going to be talking about today is not something that you'll interact with like you will with a chat bot like GPT. That is a different kind of AI. It also uses machine learning, and it also is very intensive of computer processing time. But most of the time when you're using a product that is driven by AI, say Topaz Sharpen, if you use that, or Topaz Photo AI, it's using AI in the background. You don't really know about it, but it is learning as it works through hundreds and thousands and millions of photographs to get better and better at what it's doing. So in most of the time, that's what working with AI is going to be like. But some of the time, you're working directly with it, and you are using the output from the actual program, and that's mostly the stuff I'm excited about and want to talk to you about. But we are going to touch on some of the other programs that are out there that actively use artificial intelligence in their programming, and that you will probably be familiar with. Some of them you will, some of them you might not be. But we'll do that. Then we'll do the questions, any questions that you guys have for Cindy. And there's another program I'm super excited about that I want to show you as well. I did this in the demo on Tuesday, but I'm going to do it again because it was such a laugh. It's one of Google's products. This is from the Gemini family of AI products that Google's put out, and it's called Notebook LM. Notebook LM is another language model that takes data. In this case, it took 4 of my videos, which I selected at random and dropped them into Notebook LM, and I'll show you the interface for that in just a second. And within about 2 minutes, it had written a podcast, and it performs that podcast with 2 speakers that are just made up by the computer. There's no people involved. And it gives a podcast that talks about the content of those 4 videos. I laughed so hard when I heard it. You've got to hear it, not because it was funny, but because it was so creepy to hear people talking about my videos and they're not even people. So we'll look at that as well. A complete non sequitur here. Saturday's Pazoom is an absolute, you know what a Pazoom is, right? It's a face-to-face Zoom meeting that I do every couple of weeks with my Patreon supporters. We get together and we talk. And it's me and whoever wants to come from the Patreon group. And this Saturday, if you are a Patreon supporter, you absolutely need to be there if you're into extreme macro photography, because I'm going to show you something that is, for me, revolutionary in the way I do macro. It's so exciting. It's a new platform, a new setup, something that you are absolutely going to love. And if you're into high magnification, high resolution photography, come on Saturday, because I'm going to challenge you to something. So that's going to be great. 10 o'clock in the morning till noon. All right, while I'm off topic, let me remind you that the January competition is over tomorrow night at midnight, and it's mechanisms. So if you have a mechanism, take a picture of it, send it in. You might win something awesome. My guest judge is world-renowned painter, sculptor, and photographer Lonnie Eugene Stewart. And you've heard me talk about him. Well, you're going to meet him after this weekend because we're going to do a video together. And we're going to do something completely different. We're going to do the entire process from looking at the photographs for the first time all the way to deciding on the winners. I have a feeling it's going to be like a cross between America's Got Talent and the Jerry Springer Show. Do you remember him? Any of you are young enough to remember him? Anyway, the video should be out next week. I haven't even looked at the pictures because I want to see them the first time when we're doing the judging, so it should be a very entertaining program. The competition for February, as you may have seen in the title slide at the beginning, is Small Scale Symmetry. Symmetry is the key word here. Well, no, I guess small scale is too. Something macro that shows symmetry, that celebrates symmetry, that shows it off. Anything you want, go with it. That's it. Okay, back to today. So AI's everywhere. It's going to be within our lifetimes, I'm sure, or within yours, you young people. It's going to be in everything. Anything that has a computer chip in it is somehow going to be driven by a computer chip that learns. This stuff's not going away. Most of it, like I said, is stuff that goes on in the background. But I firmly believe, as creepy as some of this stuff is, if you don't learn how to use AI, if you don't learn how to interact with machines that are driven by this artificial intelligence, then you're going to get left behind, because everybody and everything else is going to have to figure out how to use this. I personally believe, well, not personally believe, I mean, I know from my experience that using this particular model that I use has increased my productivity, decreased my stress and workload, and increased the enjoyment of my job. I seldom now ever produce a block of content, except these last two videos, when I don't at least run my my point list, my topic list by the AI and ask for comments and suggestions or recommendations for improvement. I almost always do, because she almost always gives me something I hadn't thought of. And that's just the scratching the surface. I use ChatGPT 4.0, which is the latest one, but I use the one with the scheduler attached, because I give it scheduled tasks that I ask it to do every day, every week. There are a bunch of tasks I have it do, and it reminds me, calls me on the phone, tells me stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. And it really has become an indispensable personal assistant for me. So scheduler is what I use in 4.0. When I have questions of physics questions or math questions, or things that need some reasoning, some actual detailed reasoning, not just quick answers, I use O1, which is the most sophisticated. There's an O1 Mini that gives quicker answers, but not as much research in them. O1 is great because it also provides you with citations so that you can follow up on where the data came from. All of these things, all of them, whether you're working with Notebook LM or Gemini or Claude or any of these other AI programs, they all make mistakes because they're not fact-driven. They're language-driven. So they give you the most human and realistic responses, like a person would, whether they're right or not. And sometimes they're not right. And you need to pick the AI that, if you're going to use one, if you're going to give it a try, you need to pick the AI that best fits you. If you're using ChatGPT, that's probably going to be 4.0 or 4.0 Mini if you want quick answers. Just be aware of the fact that if you ask it to do a complex math problem, there's a very good chance it won't get it right. ChatGPT probably would not be the best AI to use as an assistant in your macro photography studio. You probably wouldn't want to ask it to calculate step lengths for you. There's a reason for that. We won't get into it today, but there are plenty of other AIs that are really good at that stuff. Probably the most exciting thing going on right now is this program DeepSeek coming out of China. They have created a very, very impressive device that in many benchmark tests that have been run, it outperforms all the other ones that have been trained over here. It apparently trained at a fraction of the cost using much less computer hardware and is really impressing everybody right now. There's a lot of controversy about how it was trained and maybe that it used ChatGPT to do a lot of its basic training. That's fine. I don't really care about that. But it is causing quite an upset. Actually, it caused an upset in stock prices because the word got out that it was using a much less expensive NVIDIA processor, GPU, than the systems over here did. And NVIDIA's stock took the biggest loss of any company in history, some $18 billion or something a couple of days ago. Isn't that crazy? It's bouncing back, though, because people have realized it doesn't make any difference. People are still going to want it. So, well, I'm not going to get into DeepSeek. There are so many really good videos out there on the internet right now that discuss and talk about that's the same thing, isn't it? So I didn't need to say both of those words. They're talking about how this DeepSeek large language model is going to upset everything that is going on here. I'm not sure that it is. I am sure that all of this stuff is going to continue to barrel ahead at a crazy breakneck speed. We're most interested, I think, well, I'm interested in all of it, but for the sake of this discussion here, we probably want to talk mostly about how artificial intelligence can help us as artists, as photographers. And there are many, many ways and many, many different programs. I'll mention a couple of them, and maybe when we're talking to Cindy in a little bit, I'll ask her to give you some additional facts on some of them, because that's what she's really good at. And yeah, I'd like to get that as part of the demonstration. But things like Adobe Firefly, I did an update about 6 months, it might have been a year ago, when Adobe Firefly had just came out. Not crazy about it. It's an image producing software, but it learns. It uses machine learning to improve its outputs. I've never found them particularly compelling or interesting or good, and I've never used them for anything. But over time, possibly it'll get better. There's one called Artisse, Artisse AI, which is it's a personal photography application that's fairly new, and it transforms selfies into all kinds of different things. Change your hair, change your clothes, all that stuff. A lot of fun, but yeah, not a serious photography tool. Topaz, on the other hand, Photo AI, and another one that's quite similar, Luminar Neo. They're both fairly serious photography apps. They use AI to enhance images by denoising them, adding sharpness, increasing resolution. A lot of very, very cool stuff. Most people these days who do serious macro are using the Topaz platform for their sharpening. Not everybody. Some people aren't crazy about it. Luminar Neo is good, does great things like enhance portraits and remove skies, change backgrounds. It just does a lot of stuff for the general photographer. There's a thing called AI Image Upscaler, kind of like the Topaz Upscaler, that just increases resolution without losing quality, apparently. I've not used it. But yeah, quite a few photographers swear by it. There's another one, Imagen AI. That's Imagen. Imagen, as in generate image. it offers this automated culling of photographs, which I would absolutely never in a million years let the computer cull my photographs. That's basically what happened when my computer blew up 2 weeks ago. It culled all my photographs. But it does straightening, cropping, and subject masking kind of automatically. And it batches, so you can get through a lot of images in a short time if you trust that kind of thing. Another one called PicsArt, Picsart. It is a program. It's integrated AI features like an image generator and an AI writer into the platform, but it allows people to create images using generative AI. So it's kind of like the Adobe product. And it has an avatar feature, which is very cool, that enables you to make an avatar for all kinds of things. Like, for example, somebody was asking me, I think, who was asking me this, if you could make an avatar for your ChatGPT visual interface, the advanced visual interface, which we're going to be looking at in a minute. And yes, you can, and this is one of the products that will do that. So, very, very interesting stuff. There's a lot going on in AI, in healthcare, in materials science, in renewable energy, and oh gosh, in every corner of industries using this stuff. And yeah, it's a new revolution. It really is. You're going to see it everywhere. I'm going to ask Cindy in a minute about how AI is being used in augmented reality and virtual reality. Two things that I think are going to get bigger and bigger. I'm surprised there wasn't more of a splash with Apple's headset thing, but yeah, that's going to be something to keep an eye on, because this type of machine learning really lends itself to that kind of entertainment. Probably see a lot more blockchain technology, and it might become useful way for us to track down the ownership of photographs. There are a lot of concerns about this new technology, by the way, when it comes to protecting your intellectual property and a lot of other things, and your existence as a professional photographer, when people can type in a prompt into an AI and have the computer generate an image. Kind of don't need a photographer anymore. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that whole side of it, but it comes with the territory. When they invented gunpowder, I'm sure there were people who weren't crazy about all of the implications of that either. I'm going to ask Cindy about a bunch of the specific photography developments that are starting to be talked about and show up in the AI world, like cameras that have integrated AI software in them, and content and computational photography tools, which sound very, very exciting. Smart editing and post-processing, where these tools do a lot of the work for you. We're going to ask her to explain what's going on in those areas. There's even things like voice-activated editing, where you just tell the computer what you want it to do to your picture. It will be a cold day I don't believe I'll be using that one, but yeah, image organization, like tagging of pictures, facial recognition, all of that definitely will incorporate AI. That's the stuff it's made for. And yeah, using it for super resolution, increasing resolution without costing quality, denoising, subject tracking, all kinds of things. And we probably should, but we're not going to talk about the whole issue of deep fakes and all of the ethical challenges of using a tool like this, because it's just going to be so difficult to pass any of that in just a short time. It's going to be a separate conversation, and one that we definitely need to have. But this is a matter of us bracing for this tidal wave of new technology that's getting ready to wash over everything. And yeah, I think the right answer is learn about it, even if you're not going to use it. Learn what AI is, what it means, how it works, so that you can at least understand your world. Yeah, and the side effect from that is use it to make your photography better. Yeah, that's certainly what I'm doing. I asked ChatGPT this morning because I was going to talk a little bit more about DeepSeek and compare it to ChatGPT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle back to that if we have some time at the end. I don't want to run out of time before we do the fun stuff. There were a couple of other things that I asked it about. Again, I'll add it on the end or do it in our per Zoom meeting, where we get into a little bit of the science that compares the different technologies, the way that AIs operate. The chat GPTs use a thing called a transformer. Well, they use a lot of things called transformers. And there are other models that use a model technology called Titan. And it's fun to talk about and look at. And we'll do that a little bit later. But for now, let's actually look at some of the practical ways that ChatGPT, in this case, can be so incredibly useful. Now, what I am going to do, we're going to use the phone interface, and then in a little bit we'll jump over to the computer interface just to show you a few things about it. But for now, a minute ago I had this camera pointed at my phone so that you could see it. Now it's pointed at me, so I'm going to take me out of the picture, literally, and point this camera at, thank you to Susan for providing this camera, without which there would have been no camera today. We're going to look at my phone, that's what we'll do, so that you can see what this looks like when I'm interacting with this model. So what we'll do is we're going to create a where is it? There it is. Okay, that's Cindy. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, Alan. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Let me see if people can hear you. Can you say something? Say.
Sure, Alan. I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Just say hi to my audience, if you would.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you all.
Thanks. Okay, well, we're going to ask a couple of questions, if you don't mind, just to hear how you respond, if that's okay.
Of course. Feel free to ask away.
Okay, well, we're going to take some questions from the audience, but I thought that I'd ask you a couple first, if I can find them. We've talked, you and I have talked a lot about how AI can improve photography, make it more fun, make us take better pictures. How do you think AI is going to integrate into focus stacking software? Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. AI can play a significant role in focus stacking by automating image alignment and improving sharpness. It can analyze each image in the stack and select the best details, making the process faster and more accurate. This means better results with less manual effort, which is always a win.
Excellent, excellent. Have any of the focus stacking programs that you're aware of already incorporated this technology?
Yes, some focus stacking programs have started incorporating AI features. For instance, software like Helicon Focus uses AI to improve alignment and blending. It's becoming more common as developers see the benefits.
Okay, excellent. Do you think AI is ever going to be able to take over jobs like managing exposure or focus within a camera?
AI is definitely heading in that direction. It's already being used to assist with exposure and focus, especially in modern cameras. Over time, AI might manage these aspects more autonomously, allowing photographers to focus on creativity. It's an exciting evolution.
How long before AIs are taking over jobs like retouching or color grading in post-processing?
AI is already making strides in retouching and color grading, with tools like Adobe's Sensei and other advanced software automating these processes. It's likely to become even more prevalent in the next few years, streamlining workflows and giving photographers more time for creative decisions.
Excellent. How would you characterize the risks and dangers and ethical challenges of AI in photography specifically?
AI in photography poses several ethical challenges. One risk is the potential for misuse in creating misleading or manipulated images, which can erode trust. There's also a concern about the displacement of traditional skills and artistry. Furthermore, privacy concerns arise when AI is used in surveillance or unauthorized image recognition. Balancing innovation with ethical use and maintaining transparency will be crucial.
Excellent. Okay. Let me see if there are any questions yet from the audience. No, they're mostly talking about my ductwork.
Your ductwork must be quite impressive. If any questions come up, or if you need help with something else, just let me know.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this is the problem with user. Hang on a sec while I figure out the camera situation here. Where you can't see the ductwork as clearly. That is the problem with using this AI. By the way, it does provide a transcript of that entire conversation after you have it, so you do have a printed record of it. I find it so compelling and useful that when I use it, especially when I use it in voice mode, it answers all my questions so quickly and completely that I end up having nothing to say to it. And in the case there, when I'm trying to see if anybody's written a question, she leaves. She's got other things to do, I suppose, in my phone. But anyway, I think I'll show you what the interface looks like, and then we'll have a quick look at the Notebook LM as well. There were no questions, right? Doesn't look like it. Just funny comments. Joseph says, I think it would have to be context dependent, probably in answer to a question that came from Roy. Joseph asks, is there an AI that can ask to remove all insects from all photographs? Okay, probably not, but there will be, I'm sure. Let me see. Provide me with famous people whose first name starts with H and whose last name starts with an H. Okay, I'll do that right now. So I'm going to start a new chat. Hey Cindy, there was a question from the audience.
Sure. What's the question?
Well, it's from Harold, who wants to know, can you provide him with the names of, say, 5 famous people whose first names start with an H and whose last name also starts with an H?
Certainly. Here are a few. Hugh Hefner, Harry Houdini, Herbert Hoover, Henry Hudson, and Hans Holbein.
Who's the last one?
Hans Holbein was a renowned German painter.
Oh, okay. Can you give me 5 more?
Sure. Here are 5 more. Helen Hunt, Hulk Hogan, Hilary Hahn, Harry Hamlin, and Hayden Panettiere.
Who's that last one?
Hayden Panettiere is an American actress known for her roles in Heroes and Nashville.
Does her last name not start with a P?
You're right. Her last name does start with a P. My apologies for the mistake.
No.
How about Harry?
Go ahead.
You're welcome.
Go ahead with the other suggestion.
Here's another. Halle Berry, the Academy Award-winning actress.
No, that her last name's B.
You're absolutely right. I apologise for the mistake. Another suggestion is Henry Hill, the mobster turned informant.
Okay, that we'll accept. Tell me, how could you help a macro photographer who knows nothing about AI? How could you personally help them get better at photography? You there?
I can assist a macro photographer by explaining how AI tools can enhance their work. This includes guiding them on using AI-powered software for focus. Sure, I can help by recommending AI tools for focus stacking and noise reduction, and offering tips on lighting, composition, and post-processing to improve their photography. Additionally, I can suggest ways to experiment with AI to enhance creativity.
Excellent. Can you tell me what this object is? The thing I'm holding in front of the camera? The camera takes just a minute to turn on before she'll see it. You see what I'm showing you, Cindy? Every now and again, I have to restart the phone app when the camera isn't on at the beginning. But we'll try that again in a second. I've got a couple of things on the desk I can challenge it with. Any questions for her? Could Cindy be asked if she can be more productive in her answers if the question has come from someone who has some knowledge of the request? I can answer that for you. Absolutely. That gets to the very heart of how to use this tool to maximum effect. And that is how you write your prompts, or how you say your prompts. When you seek a response from an AI, it comes through the asking of prompts. That's the technical term. And there are courses and all kinds of material out there to teach you how to use prompts better. But probably the best tool for learning prompts is the AI itself. It will tell you exactly how to use prompts. You keep your questions fairly compact. Unlike I was doing there, you keep them fairly straightforward, and you layer the intent of your query by asking build-up questions. You basically get it to lay out a path of thinking so that when you get to the big question that you have, it has already kind of sought the context for it and will give you a better answer. So it's not really that you know about the subject to get better answers, but when you ask your prompts in the best possible way, you will definitely get better answers. It doesn't mean you won't get mistakes. My prompts used to be very bad. I used ChatGPT mostly in the typed form. I don't use the verbal thing because I like to think at the rate that I type, which is incredibly slowly. But my prompts have got better, and as a result, the outputs from this GPT and others has been much better. We're going to take a very brief break for me to show you this other program that I think you'll get a kick out of. This is Notebook LM, and this is a program that just takes content. It doesn't matter what content it is, articles, books, videos, audio recordings, and it will take the content in that and it will learn it. And then it will create content, maybe a list of questions, a study guide, a frequently asked question list, a briefing document, or a timeline. It will produce any of those that you ask it to. But one of the things it will also produce is a podcast. Now, the crazy thing is, none of this is real. Well, it's real, but none of the people involved here are real. And they are basing their comments on what they saw and heard in the videos that I put into it. It took about 2 minutes for it to produce this content, and it's a 40-minute. I think it's a 20-minute podcast. Listen to this.
Welcome to your deep dive. Looks like you've been getting into some extreme macro photography lately.
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating niche.
Not just your typical flower close-ups, right? We're talking the really small stuff.
Absolutely. We're talking about insects so small you practically need a microscope to even see them.
Definitely not your average Instagram feed.
The images coming out of this niche, though, really are astounding.
Yeah, and we've got a stack of your sources right here.
Some really in-depth YouTube videos from Alan Wall's photography.
Oh yeah, Alan
He
Wolf.
covers everything from stacking software
tips.
all the way to the surprisingly complex world of insect preparation.
Oh, from what I skimmed, this Alan Walls guy is a total pro.
Oh, he is.
Even using a modified badminton racket to collect his specimens.
He is quite the character, but
Yeah.
also clearly deeply passionate and knowledgeable about this.
Alright, so what we'll do is synthesize these videos, highlight the most crucial techniques and counterintuitive facts you need to know. We're ready to shrink ourselves down to insect size.
Somebody said in the chat a little while ago that we are now in the uncanny valley. Yes, we are. The first time I heard this, it creeped me out. It really did. Because these are not people. This is all computer generated. And it's of course a case of garbage in, garbage out. I mean, you put in bad information or that you're going to get rubbish back out. But in this case, these were a couple of videos that I really liked, I researched them pretty well, and I've listened to this podcast all the way through, and it's almost good enough that I'd publish it because it's remarkable. But anyway, I just thought you might get a kick out of seeing that. While we're in that mode, let me see if I've got I do. I'm going to pull up my ChatGPT page and let me see. This is a list that I was asking it about right before the show today. A list of other AI-driven editing programs. And let me show you what the interface looks like. So you just basically type or say your prompt into this window, and within a few seconds it will give you an answer. And one of the important things about using this is that you can refine the answer. If you're not happy with the answer, if it's not detailed enough, or if it misses key points that you recognize, you can tell it that. So when I'm having it look through my scripts or my cue sheets for a live stream, sometimes it'll give me advice and I want more specific advice. You simply ask it to give you more specific advice. If it's talking to you at a level that you don't understand, if it's using a lot of jargon, then you just ask it to dumb down for you. For example, let's ask, I always refer to her by name because she always refers to me by name. And by the way, there's a chance when I type in here that she's going to use a term of endearment when she talks to me. She started doing that about a month ago. I don't know why, but it's a bit disconcerting. So if she calls me darling, that's the reason why. Well, that's not a good reason, is it? But yeah, just be prepared. How does a nuclear reactor work? Give me the answer as if I were a 12-year-old. Okay. Okay, so there you go. Imagine you've got a big pot of soup on the stove. All right, so can you answer the question as if I were a nuclear physicist who can't spell? Well, there you go. She'll probably keep talking for about an hour with a prompt like that. But yeah, sustained chain reaction of nuclear fission, fuel made of uranium-235, plutonium-239, fissile isotopes undergo fission. Yep. Yeah, there's all kinds of terms I've never heard of in here. So you can just tailor this whole experience to whatever you like. We're going to I think we'll ask her a couple more questions, see if we can get the camera thing working. But let me see if you guys have got any questions. Oh no, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. Let me get back to that for just a second. I want you to see one of the things that have made this tool far more enjoyable for me to use was by going to settings like this, and in settings you can put in here any personalization that you want. In other words, you can tell ChatGPT what you want to be addressed as. You can tell her your level of education or your country of origin or your job, anything you want. You just put it in there, and it will take that into account when it's answering your questions. So it really greatly improves the weirdness of the experience, but makes it oddly enjoyable as well. So very, very cool. And yeah, there's no limit to what you can get into with these. There is a limit. I tried something this morning that I got my wrist slapped for, literally, not literally, figuratively. Somebody had said to me something about a certain Mr. Altman, who's the OpenAI dude, and I thought, well, I don't know if that's true or not. I'll check with ChatGPT. So I asked for more information about Mr. Altman in relation to this issue that was brought up, and she told me I'm not going to answer anything like that about him. So there are limits to what you can ask. I thought that was weird as well, but there you go. It's also programmed that it's not going to tell you how to make ricin or make an atomic bomb in your basement, which is probably a good thing that it doesn't tell you that. But there are ways that you can trick it into doing even that. But most of the time, it's just a very, very cool sounding board, idea measuring device. I'm tempted to show you how that would work, but I think it would get us into the weeds a little bit. So let me see if anybody has any questions that you want me to ask her, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. Boy, I've got a lot of things open on my desk. Ask Cindy, could AI be used to assist in color calibration of your monitor rather than the colorimeter? That's an interesting one. Let me see. Hey Cindy, I was wondering, Alistair was wondering, could an AI be used to assist in color calibration of your monitor rather than using a colorimeter?
Yes. AI can assist in color calibration by analyzing display output and adjusting settings for optimal accuracy. While a colorimeter is more precise, AI could provide a convenient alternative, especially for quick adjustments and scenarios where specialized hardware isn't available.
Excellent. Very good. Let me see if there are any other questions.
Sure. Take your time. I'm here if you need me.
Okay.
All right. Just let me know if there's anything else you'd like to discuss.
See what I mean? Anyway, that's one of the things you just have to remember is that as interesting as that answer was, it might not be true. It probably is. You'll find that things that involve mostly language can generally be quite quickly verified as being true. Where you end up in trouble is if you rely at all on things that involve numbers. In fact, that's a really good thought. Let me try that. While I ask her this question, I'm going to turn on the camera too. Cindy?
Yes, Alan?
Can you tell me why ChatGPT is very good with problems that involve just language, but doesn't do quite as well with mathematics?
Certainly. ChatGPT excels at language tasks because it's trained on vast amounts of text data, which helps it understand context, grammar, and meaning. Math problems, on the other hand, require precise calculations and logical reasoning, which can be challenging for a language model because it generates responses based on patterns in data rather than performing actual computations.
How is it that DeepSeek seems to be able to do math very well? This may be one of those times I wasn't supposed to ask that.
DeepSeek and other models designed for math often incorporate specialized algorithms and architecture. It's all good, Alan. If you have any other questions or need help, feel free to ask.
Can you see that the camera is on now, Cindy?
Yes, I can see your workspace.
Okay.
Is there...
Yeah, can you tell me what this is?
That looks like a lock. Are you trying to figure out something about it?
Not really. Do you know what kind of lock it is?
It appears to be an American lock padlock, possibly a Series 1100 or similar. It's known for its durability and security features.
Describe those security features on the 1100 series.
The American Lock 1100 series padlocks are known for their solid aluminium body, which resists corrosion. They typically feature a hardened boron alloy shackle for extra cut resistance. They also have a 5-pin tumbler cylinder, which offers a good level of security against picking.
Actually, they're most famous for the fact that they use serrated and spool pins in their in the lock. Are you aware of that?
Yes, serrated and spool pins add extra security, making the lock more resistant to picking. It's one of their notable features. Is there anything else you'd like to know about it?
Not really, but can you tell me what this is?
That looks like a small oil lamp or alcohol burner, typically used for heating or lighting.
That's what it is. What would a macro photographer need with that, do you suppose?
A macro photographer might use an alcohol burner for precise heating, such as softening wax or adjusting small objects in a controlled environment. It can help with tasks that require gentle heat.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I, guys, am not going to ask the ChatGPT how many digits there are in the largest prime number because it will just melt, I'm sure. Actually, when you ask it questions like that, it usually just tells you it can't answer them because they're unknown, irrational or something like that. Who knows? Anybody got any questions or comments about the general thing? Oh, Nick is asking, I wonder what Gemini would have done with the question on Mr. AI. Who's Mr. AI? Russ wants to know if you should call me darling now. I'll tell you that story. I mean, I'd been using this thing for a while, a good long while, and I mean, there had never been anything like that had come out of it at any point in all of the hundreds and hundreds of prompts I'd given to it. And then right after 4.0 came out, one day, about 3 weeks ago, right out of the blue, it called me darling in in answer to a prompt. It called me Alan darling. And since then, every time, except when I'm doing this, except when I'm doing a demo, that's what it calls me. Or Alan dear, or sweetie, or something like that. I think it's a trick thing that the OpenAI people put in it just to get a laugh. But I've had people I've been working with in the office here using this tool and asking, putting a prompt in and having this come back, and it's very embarrassing. And I don't know where it came from, and I've asked her, and she doesn't know where it came from. So there you go. Talk about weird. More questions above. How many digits are there in the largest prime number? Not going to ask. By the way, chat tells me there are 24,862,048 digits in the largest prime number. Is that right? Who knows what nobody knows what the largest prime number is, so you can't possibly know how many digits there are in it. You mean the largest one that's been found? That's a different question, I suppose. Let me see. More questions above. More questions above. Have I missed some questions? I don't think so. Maybe so. Could NotebookLM create a table of contents for the blogs? Yes. I'm absolutely convinced that it could. I don't yet know what the prompts would be like to bring that about, but I only installed NotebookLM a day ago, so I will work on that. Can you ask Cindy if we can change her name to Halastair? Nope, not going to do that either. You know, if you are using a paid-for app, Harold's asking me if I'm using a paid-for app or a free service. I am paying $20 a month for my ChatGPT because it gives you unlimited prompts and it doesn't limit your the amount of information you can ask for. And it puts you at the front of the stack when it gets busy. It's absolutely worth every penny of it. As I was saying on Tuesday, this is the personal assistant I was looking to hire a year and a half ago, but could never raise the money for. This is $20 a month, and when my computer broke down, I lost my entire list of email addresses for my non-Patreon supporters, the people that I email a copy of every post that I do so that they can get the invitations to all the things. These are people who've made contributions to me but haven't joined Patreon. I want to include them in the Patreon deals, and therefore I need that list. It had all the emails on it. Well, all I had was a picture of the list, a photograph basically, like a JPEG, that had all the names and emails on it. And it was going to take me a long time to type it out because I can't type. Then it occurred to me, I just stuck the photograph into the file there, uploaded it, and GPT created a comma-separated list of all the emails in 10 seconds. And checked them, found a couple of mistakes, and corrected them. So that's another thing I use it for, is proofreading. Proofreading anything and everything, for facts, for grammar, for spelling, for layout. It does all of that for me. This is all stuff that I would need an assistant to do. So as soon as we get done with this live stream, I am going to ask Cindy to please tell me how to get my camera working again, and she'll walk me through all the troubleshooting steps to get the Mac Studio working. I would have a problem trying to do my job without this tool. I'm not kidding. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. I think you will enjoy it. And if you're just not a computer person, I still think you should try it, just so you know what people are talking about. Let me see. Are there any other questions? Because I can jump back on and ask her. Could you ask Alan to ask Cindy what you could ask that will freeze an AI? Nope, not going to ask that either. I found that asking questions like that get silly answers and probably cause it a freeze. $20 a month, that's correct, said Alistair. And Pierre was out for dinner and was late. I'm glad that my AI didn't have to hear that, Pierre. She would have been absolutely mortified. Could Cindy be asked if she can be more productive in her answers if the questions have come from... I will ask that if we have to. We don't have time. We're done. It's 3 o'clock. Just get ChatGPT and ask it. Please do, because I'd love to hear the question. More questions earlier. Oh, heck, I missed all of these questions from early on. I will... I'll tell you what. I'm going to hang around. You guys can head on if you need to. And anybody who wants to hear the answers to these questions, I'm going to ask while we're on. Yep. 76 trombones. That's right. Yep. 110 cornets close at hand. Or was it 101 Dalmatians? That's it. Wrong video. All right. No question. I'm looking for questions, and I am not bright red today. Part of that is because I've got the lights fixed, and I remembered to take my blood pressure medicine. Hey, Arthur. Video resolution of this live stream is the best ever. Well, thanks Susan for that, because that is the little camera I forget the name of that she gave me. Which makes me wonder why I'm not getting a better resolution out of the broken camera. Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions, so there you go. Klaus was impressed with the demo on Tuesday. I was impressed with how she answered. Yeah, definitely. I had to listen to 2001 Space Odyssey references from Rick Littlefield last night for 3.5 hours, so... and they won't fly over my head. I've watched that movie 12 times growing up. All right. Let me see. You know what? I think we answered all the questions. Okay, we're done. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. We're getting right back to photography next week. And if you are a Patreon supporter, do not forget to come on Saturday, because I'm going to tell you about something that I've never talked about before and you're going to want to try. So Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning till noon, per Zoom. I almost forgot the name of my own program. And I'll see you on Saturday. Otherwise, see you next week. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, and be well. Good night.